Belief in witchcraft is universal. It has both negative and positive responses. In a neutral sense, witchcraft is sorcery, the magical manipulation of forces by casting spells and conjuring or invoking spirits. It has been used by humankind since prehistoric times in an effort to control the environment and enhance daily life. Throughout history, witches have been feared because they were believed to be evil, in consort with the devil, and able to fly through the night on a broomstick and shape-shift into magical creatures. The same women who were sought after, healers, midwives, the wise women and crones, for help were the ones who were also feared for their knowledge. In truth, witches are in tune with nature and with themselves. They are men and women who are dark and light, day and night, healer and justice all in one. To be a witch is to be a keeper of balance, the essential witch. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Essential Witch. I am your host, Raven Wings, and tonight we are doing a Beltane show. I figured being that Beltane is going to be here in the next 3 days, it would be a good time to do a show on the celebration. So basically, I wanted to do a show about the Sabbat Beltane for everybody, being that I am a solitary practitioner and I celebrate the seasons a bit differently than other paths. I wanted to share some of the information and knowledge that I have for celebrating this festival in a solitary way. As I've said before, I don't perform circles to do my magic, and I'm not one to perform grand rites and rituals either, so my stuff stays pretty much so simple. I work with my magic very quietly, and I've been able to include others into my celebrations without anybody ever batting an eye, because they don't even know that they're part of the celebration. So a celebration for me always includes food. It has to include food of some sort, you know. Mostly it's with the seasons, however. And it's also a great time to spend outside, because normally, this is a holiday that you can actually spend outside. If the weather warms up maybe a little bit more in Maine, we could do that just a little bit more. But I wanted to start with just a bit of history about that goes on with this whole Sabbath. Beltane and its counterpart Samhain divide the year in half. From Samhain, it's the beginning of winter or the dark half, and Beltane is the beginning of summer and the light half. Samhain is about honoring death, whereas Beltane is about honoring life. So we can't have one without the other. Dark and light. and Mitchell in the chat room is Onyx Moon. That was kind of cute. Sorry, I just got distracted. If you were in the chat room, you would have seen that. Dark and light, life and death. You can't have one without the other. Beltane is like Samhain, as the veil between the two worlds is at its thinnest. This is a time when the Fae return from their winter retreats. They're carefree and full of mischief and delight. In Ireland, it's believed that any food that has not been eaten from May Eve, which would be this Saturday evening, must be buried or left out as an offering to the Fae. In ancient times, people would place rowan branches at their windows and doors for protection. On the Isle of Man, the youngest member of the family would gather primrose on the eve and throw the flowers at the door of the home for protection. It is said the queen of the Fae rides her white horse on Beltane Eve, trying to entice people away to fairyland. They say if you sit beneath a tree on the eve of Beltane, you may even see her or hear the sound of bells on her horse. If you hide your face, she may pass you by, but if you look at her, she may choose you. So you want to be careful. The maypole is also one of the traditional symbols of Beltane. Because the festivities usually kick off the night before, a bonfire is lit and the maypole celebration usually takes place in the morning. The pole is erected normally in a common or even in a field. Then they connect brightly colored ribbons to the top. People would come and dance around the pole, each holding a ribbon, and weave it in and out, creating an intricate pattern around the pole. Other traditions to celebrate on this Sabbath include light the fires. That's right, Terry, light the fires. Other traditions to celebrate on this Sabbath include making small wedding gifts for the goddess and the god, such as strings of beads, potpourri bags, or even flower garlands that hung from trees. A basket of flowers at a neighbor's door, or wearing flower and ribbon and hair wreaths known as chapelets, in honor of the Roman goddess Flora, the goddess of flowers, can be a way to celebrate as well. Some of the traditional herbs and flowers associated with Beltane are almond, angelica, ash tree, bluebell, daisy, frankincense, hawthorn, honeysuckle, ivy, lilac, marigolds, meadowsweet, primrose, of course, rose, orchids, St. John's wort, woodruff, and yellow cowslips. Some of your traditional foods include the Beltane cakes, donuts, cookies, fresh fruits, usually red fruits for this holiday, the raspberries, strawberries, cherries, stuff like that. Herbal salads are big, honey, a marigold custard, mead, vanilla ice cream, and wine punch. Excuse me. If you've been following the Essential Witch page, I have been, since the 17th of this month, been posting up different recipes and stuff as well for the upcoming Beltane. So if you haven't gotten a chance to look at that, there was a recipe every day. So, and now we have people in the chat room who are hungry and want mead. So, yeah. There's been a ton going around, so feel free to browse on those recipes and stuff, see if there's something that might pique your interest. As I said before, I do not do full-blown rituals. I do smaller things to honor the deities and the fae. If you live in an apartment, as I do, and cannot have a giant maypole, you can always create smaller ones to keep on your altar, if you have one, an altar that is. Having fresh flowers in a vase, or even a potted plant on your kitchen table, is another way you can celebrate the Sabbath. You don't have to go all out for this. There are a lot of simple things, which is why I wanted to do this show, to cover this. The gods and goddesses understand that we cannot always have big celebrations and parties. A simple thank you for just being there to guide us and assist us is a big deal. Do not ever believe that just because you don't have the means, abilities, or funds to throw an elaborate party that the deities, the goddesses, the gods, the fae, and the elements do not appreciate what you do, no matter how small it is. They are very similar to us in the respect that they just want to be recognized and appreciated. A small thank you goes a long way in magic and in the human world as well. So remember, thank you is a big thing. Some of the other associations and ideas for decorating and such for Beltane are, if you have an altar and you want to decorate your altar, drape the altar in a green cloth, and you can decorate it with blooming flowers and herbs, whether it's just, a bowl of potpourri on your altar, or you want to put fresh herbs or even a potted plant on your altar. You could do just herbs themselves on your altar. You do not have to go crazy. Just, bring in some of the spring to your altar. Speaking of herbs, some of the better herbs that you can leave on your altar are all heal, blessed thistle, broom, curry, daffodil, dogwood, coriander, dragon's blood, reed, fern, fireweed, nettle, flaxseed, hawthorn, marjoram, paprika, radish, rue, snapdragons, which snapdragons are one of my favorite flowers, mushroom, almond, meadowsweet, rose, woodruff, tansy, and elder leaves. These are all great herbs that you can just leave on your altar. If you want to burn incense, you want to use like a Beltane type of incense. Some you can make your own, create your own, or you could just burn rose, jasmine, lang lang, peach, musk, or vanilla. Any one of those are really good for the Beltane holiday. Your stones for this time of year, if you wanted to put some stones on your altar, you could use malachite, you could use garnet, rose quartz, emerald, and tourmaline. These are all great stones for Beltane. If you're going to be performing magic, your better magic spells to perform would be spells to ensure prosperity, conservation, safety, and love. Those are the really good spells that tend to have more power during the Beltane season. Excuse me. I think I'm coming down with the wonderful spring cold, so bear with me, guys. Activities. There are some activities that you can do for this wonderful Sabbath. If you can have a bonfire, you can jump the balefire. It's called jumping the balefire. You can have a bonfire or need fire. That is one of the oldest Beltane traditions. When lighting the fire, use 9 sacred woods from the following list. So even if you're going to do like a small cauldron fire, now that Beltane falls within a retrograde, what could that mean? It means it's going to cause a lot more stress on the rest of us. I've determined, with the veil being thin and the retrograde hitting and all the things that happen in spring, I'm sure we're all going to be losing our minds. That was a question from Reverend Terry Brookins in the chat room. Yeah, I'm thinking that we're all really going to be losing our minds. The 7 woods, if you're going to do a big bonfire or even a small cauldron fire and you want to use the 7 woods to make it traditional, you can use oak, apple, hawthorn, birch, elder, ash, blackthorn. You can also add into it grapevine, mountain ash, which is basically rowan, holly, willow, cedar, yew, or hemlock. Just pick, 9, sorry, not 7, 9 of the woods. And Onyx Moon has already lost her mind. Yes, so I know how you feel. It's been one of those days for me too. Your ashes from your balefire, or your bonfire, or your little cauldron fire, can be scattered in the fields as a fertility charm. Women wishing to conceive can tie a bag of the ashes around their neck. Traditionally, cattle and other animals were driven between 2 fires for protection, healing, and purification. Modern pagans can ritually purify their tools or other things in a balefire or small cauldron fire. And jumping the dying embers of the fire is for summer blessings. That was part of the jumping. You could dance around a maypole. I don't see why they couldn't. I just had a question in the chat room from Reverend Terry Brookins. I have ashes from a Samhain fire. May I add Beltane ashes to it? I don't see why that wouldn't work. I mean, because this is the exact opposite side of the year. This is the life side as opposed to the Samhain death side, light and dark. I think adding the 2 ashes together would create some powerful ash, actually, especially considering the veil is thinning on both ends of the spectrum for Samhain and Beltane. I think you would end up with some very interesting, powerful ash. I would definitely do it. I would give it a shot. Definitely. If you can, dance around a maypole. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to actually have the maypole in school. They don't do it anymore, but when I was many lifetimes ago, when I was a child going to elementary school, that was the first time I had ever heard of a maypole, and I wasn't even really pagan yet. I was still, Catholic. And we would do the maypole dance. It was really fun, and I'm really surprised that they took that out of the curriculum for schools, because they need to learn more than what they're learning now. You can gather your first wild herbs of the season. This is a great time to do herb gathering. You can go a-maying. What that is you're going to the woods and fields to gather flowers. That's what they call go a-maying. If you want, you can take a picnic with you and actually sit out in a field somewhere while you're picking flowers and have a picnic. Wash your face in dew at sunrise on Beltane for beauty in the coming year. Traditionally, the dew from the hawthorn tree, but dew from grass and flowers will work as well. Make daisy chains. I don't know if you remember doing this in school, because we used to do this in school too, with fresh flower wreaths and your headdresses to wear, and you can place them on top of the maypole if you have a maypole. You can braid flowers into your hair. You can make and wear leafy green masks to represent the green man who has returned. You can make a wish at a hawthorn tree. This is a tree that's associated with the Fae. You can place strips of cloth symbolizing your wish in the tree. The color should be appropriate to the nature of your wish, similar to like blue for health, pink or red for love, green or gold for prosperity. You can hang these ribbons from the trees. Take some time to attune to the tree. When you feel you have connected to its spirit, you can visualize your wish coming true as you hook the cloth on one of the tree's thorns, chanting your wish. When you have finished, leave a gift for the tree. Yes, Onyx, definitely. And Onyx made a good point. Just do not gather the dew if the dog was there first, because that's not dew you want to wash your face with, or anything else for that matter. Thank you, Onyx. Here's another one. I'm not saying go doing it. I'm just saying that these are ideas you could do. Make love in the woods. Beltane is the time of year when the goddess and god consummate their passions. Traditionally, it's a time when lovers pledge to live together for a year and a day. At the end of the period, they may part ways if things haven't worked out. If all has gone well, they may make plans for a hand fasting at midsummer. Another thing you could do is commune with the fairies, just not while making love in the woods. Mark the boundaries of your circle with oatmeal. If you're used to making circles with salt or something to that effect, instead of using salt, use oatmeal. This is a traditional Beltane grain. And yes, and use, as Reverend Terry says, and use properly placed bug sprays and a blanket. Absolutely, because you don't want the bugs or the mosquitoes. There are so many different ways you can celebrate this beautiful Sabbath. I am going to give you a bunch more different ways. You can pick and choose whatever works for you. If it's necessary, change the ideas that I'm giving you. Make them uniquely your own. The beauty of paganism is that the celebrations and stuff, there are no rules. Do what feels right for you and you'll never go wrong. You know, if you can't afford to do a big celebration, don't. If you can't afford to buy flowers to put on your table, is there a place where wildflowers grow near you that you can pick them? Pick some. Put them in a little vase on the table. You'd be amazed at what just flowers on a kitchen table or a dining room table, how it can make you feel when you walk into a room. It is an amazing thing. You can decorate your home. You know, I decorate for Samhain crazily, because it's one of my favorite holidays. But, you know, you could decorate your home. Roses and flowers in rainbow colors. You could do gems and minerals in all different shapes and colors. Colored frame arts. Decorate your front door. You know, add vibrant color all over the place. And like Mrs. Brown in the chat room says, if you're crafty, you could make flowers that will last for years to come. Exactly. I mean, you can make these things. You can craft your own mini maypole using a piece of wood found outside. Add some rainbow ribbons and top it off with a quartz point or another gemstone. And you'll have a mini maypole that you can put on your table, or you could put on your altar, or you can stick wherever you want, just so that you see it on your desk. You know, just so you can see it and remember to celebrate and say thank you, you know, for the holiday. Have a bonfire if you can. If you have a fire pit or a fireplace, if you're unable to do that and you can't do it in your cauldron, light a candle. You know, fire is fire, whether it's in huge form outside, you know, with tens of thousands of people around it, or it's, you know, just you by yourself with a candle. It's still fire. It's still using it to celebrate. Meditation is great at this time as well. You can ask yourself and your guides, if you use them, what changes do I need to make my life more beautiful? This is a great time, being that the veil is thinner, to work with your guides and stuff, if you use guides. If you work with Fae, if you work with a certain goddess or god, this is a great time. to commune with them through meditation. Ask them, for some clues on how to make your life better. So, but right now we are going to stop right here so we can listen to some of our wonderful sponsors. And when we come back, I'm going to give you a few more ideas on what you can do to celebrate this wonderful holiday. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. This is a message from Hawthorne at Magic in Your Living Room. The Etsy shop includes ritual programs and gorgeous altar cloths. We feature ready-to-use rituals for only $3 or less. You get step-by-step instructions, including a list of necessary items, how to set up the altar, and a complete program for all ritual activity. We also have beautiful altar cloths for all holidays. Magic in Your Living Room is located at Etsy at www.etsy.com/shop/magic-in-living-room or at www.magicinyourlivingroom.com.
Are you ready to have some fun? Then come and check out Raven's Shadow Crafts, home of the Poppet with a Pocket. These unique handmade poppets come ready to go, pre-stuffed with herbs and in colors designed for your intent. They also have a pocket on the back to add any herb, stone, or personal item you want to make this poppet complete. Just charge and it's ready to go. Other handmade items are gree-gree bags, goddess symbols, mini skull magnets, and more. So check them out on Facebook at Raven's Shadow Crafts. Park your broom and stay a spell. That's www.facebook.com/Raven's Shadow Crafts. We'll see you there.
And welcome back to The Essential Witch. I am your host, Raven Wings. And tonight we are going over a few different ideas on how you can celebrate the upcoming Beltane in a few days here. I know how Terry's going to celebrate it because it's her birthday the day before. The 30th is her birthday, so happy early birthday to Reverend Terry. Happy birthday to you. So we know she's going to have a good time with it. But some of the other things you can do is to add some fertility symbols on your altar or even around your home. And you're welcome. Acorns and seeds can be put in bowls or jars. Those are fertility symbols. Antlers, if you have a hunter in your family, antlers. Or even freshly harvested branches can be added into your decorating as well. Blessing braids. These are fun and easy to make. You can make a series of these braids in bright spring colors like blues, greens, yellows, purples, those types of colors. And then you can hang these around your home. You can also hang ribbons from the trees outside in bright colors as well. Butterflies and bees start buzzing around at this time of year. Why not create a bee feeder or even a butterfly feeder or a plant like a butterfly bush where butterflies can come and congregate. Not only will you be helping nature, but the Fae will be impressed, and maybe you can get in their good graces, because they're not easy to get in their good graces. Speaking of the Fae, you could make a Fae chair. If you have an old wooden chair and some paint and a bit of crafting ability, these are pretty easy and beautiful to add to a garden, or just even place in a sunny spot in the yard. You grab some colorful paint, even if you have leftovers and stuff like that, and paint the chair any way you want it. All one color, many colors, it's all up to you. Add a coat of clear sealer on top of it so that the paint stays while, it's outside, because weather will chip away at the paint. Place the chair in the yard where you want it. Then you can add a touch of happiness to it, if you want to call it that. You can plant seeds around the chair for climbing plants like ivy. If you don't have a way to do this outside, you could always use a mini version, using either live plants or fake plants inside. Or you can use fake plants outside. But it's just a colorful chair that sits there, and you can do all kinds of vines growing through it and stuff. It's really kind of cool. The Fae like it. I don't know. They're little magical, mystical creatures like that. You can make a magical herb wreath. Use freshly cut herbs, the wire wreath frame or a florist wire type of thing, and some ribbon. There's a few examples for different wreaths that I'm going to give you. If you wanted to do a healing wreath, if you know somebody who's ill, under the weather, and you wanted to make them a healing wreath for their door, that can be made with apple blossoms, lavender, barley, comfrey, eucalyptus, fennel, chamomile, golden seal, borage, feverfew, horehound, lady's mantle, allspice, olive, rosemary, rue, sandalwood, wintergreen, or peppermint. Any one of those herbs together, all of those herbs together, whatever you want to do. Those are the really good herbs for a healing wreath. If you wanted to do a protection wreath for a door, you can include aloe vera, hyssop, mandrake, heather, holly, mugwort, onion, wood betony, valerian, sandalwood, snapdragons. And yes, do not handle rue if you're pregnant. Fleabane, mustard, garlic, foxglove, dill, or mistletoe. Any one of those, any combination of those, you want to put them all together, go for it. Those are great for protection wreaths. If you're going to do a love wreath to hang on your door, you can use allspice, apple blossom, bleeding hearts, catnip. I will warn you, if you put catnip on your door and you have neighborhood cats, you may have a few come into your house. Lavender, periwinkle, peppermint, tulip, violet, daffodil, clove, yarrow, marjoram, basil, fig, and endive. Use any one or all of the above. Great for a love wreath. You can also add kids into the fun, because this is, the time when they're going to be coming home from school, if they're wonderful, vacations. Put them to work with you. Have fun, You could create May baskets. You can fill them with flowers, seeds, candies, homemade cookies, breads, whatever the case may be, and pass them out at for neighbors and friends. If it happens to be raining, catch some of the rainwater to use in your springtime magic, or even add it to your inside plants. Water your inside plants with that rainwater if it happens to be raining. If you can go camping, or at the very least take a walk in nature, connecting with the Earth's energies is a very good way to ground yourself and to appreciate the season and to give thanks to the sun, because that's a big part of what this holiday is. It's the sun coming back to us. You can burn some incense, get different floral scents or even woodsy scents, either or, burn some incense. Dress yourself in bright colors. I am a mostly black, white, gray kind of girl. So, but I do own some bright pinks and greens just for those days when I need to boost myself up. So the winter blues tend to affect all of us at some point. So this is a great time of the year to shake off those blues and brighten up a bit. I'm not one for wearing makeup, but I will throw some on just to feel a little bit brighter as well. Do you like to write? Well, why not write a poem or a short story about Beltane and what it means to you? This is another great way you can celebrate this holiday. This is also a great time to purify your doorways. You can smudge your front door with white sage, desert sage, Palo Santo. You could also wash it down with a mixture of spearmint or cedar, or mist it with a spray. Skype. This is a great tool to celebrate Beltane with. Call up a family member or a friend. Spend some time reminiscing about fun times in the past. That actually is a way to celebrate this holiday as well. Bring an offering to a tree or a bush or something outside your home. A stone, a feather, some herbs buried in the dirt beneath the tree or bush is a great offering. If you have a bike, go for a bike ride. Enjoy that world around you. That's part of what this is. It's connecting with nature again. You can buy colored flower pots. If you're just doing herbs, you can plant them in these brightly colored pots that you're going to leave in your house. Or you can paint pots. You can buy pots that you've, found at yard sales or thrift stores or whatever the case may be, and paint them in bright colors. You can do all kinds of things with them. You can plant bright flowers in them. So, you just want to bring color into your life and bring more light into your life. You can create a collage of pictures. This can be whatever you feel that this Sabbath means to you. If it means nature and herbs and trees and stuff like that, you could build one like that. If it's all the brightly colored flowers, you could do that. If the Sabbath means more to you and it means family time for you, do a collage of family pictures. Whatever this Sabbath means for you, do a collage of pictures for that. Try to go to a body of water near your home, be it an ocean, a lake, a river, brook, whatever. Just, some kind of water. Spending time near water can also be a great place to meditate. So you can kill two birds with one stone. Go bird watching. Look at the different birds. You can take a notebook with you and write down what birds you saw or a description of what they look like if you don't know what they are. Even better, bring a bird book with you or a camera and take that with you and take pictures. Sit outside and read a book. That's it. Easy way to celebrate. Sit outside and there's a book on your shelf that you've been dying to read. Grab it. Go sit outside and read. Get a bird feeder or make one so that you can have birds, coming to you so you can watch them. Go to a pet store, a shelter, or even a zoo. This will connect you with animals and stuff. If you can, walk barefoot in the grass or on the sand at the beach. I highly suggest this, especially if you're empathic and you need help with grounding. Barefoot in the grass or on the sand at the beach or wherever you can go barefoot. Barefoot is awesome. Having a picnic. Just, packing up a little basket with some sandwiches and some chips, maybe a nice bottle of wine or some mead. Go have a picnic. This is a great way to celebrate this Sabbath. You can do some divination. No matter what type you do, whether it's tarot, cartomancy, pendulums, whatever the case may be, being that the veil is at its thinnest, now is a great time to do some divination. Cooking. This is another great way to celebrate this day, and this is one of my big things. I love to cook for holidays. Coming from a kitchen witch, cooking for any season or Sabbath, it's, just what I do. So I wanted to give you a few recipes here that I didn't share on the Essential Witch page. This one is called fried honey cakes. These cakes were traditionally made the night before Beltane and left in the garden as offering to the Fae. You need a half a cup of sweet white wine, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 egg, 1 cup of honey, 2/3 of a cup of flour, 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, and an oil for frying it. Then you'll need another 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. You want to beat the egg and wine in a medium bowl. Combine the flour, cinnamon, salt, and sugar in another smaller bowl. Stir into the egg mixture, then let it stand for 30 minutes. Then you're going to combine the honey and nutmeg in another small bowl. Then you'll heat about 1/2 inch of the oil in a frying pan until it's hot but not smoking. Drop 1 teaspoon of the batter into the oil carefully. You're going to fry it until it's golden brown and then drain it on paper towels. Then you can dip those into the honey mixture. And this recipe makes about 1.5 dozen. So I will be putting these recipes up on the Essential Witch page after the show, but I wanted to share them on the show first. You can make fairy sugar. This is 3 cups of fine white sugar, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, the good stuff, because they like the good stuff, 1/8 of a teaspoon of red food coloring, 9 shakes of pink edible glitter, and a glass container. You want to lay the sugar on wax paper and sprinkle on the vanilla, and then stir it until it's all mixed really well. Next, you want to sprinkle on the red food coloring and incorporate that till the sugar turns fairy pink. Then you want to add in the 9 shakes of pink edible glitter and save it in a glass container marked fairy sugar. You can now use this special treat in fairy cookies, cakes, and offerings to the fae. Oh yes, those fae festivals, there's glitter everywhere. It takes you weeks to get it out of your hair. Another one for you would be a lavender herb bread. I've made this before and I love this bread. You need a package of active dry yeast, a 1/4 cup of warm water, 1 cup of low-fat cottage cheese, a 1/4 cup of honey, 2 tablespoons of sweet butter, 1 teaspoon of dried lavender buds, 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon thyme, 1 tablespoon of fresh basil finely chopped, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 eggs, 2½ cups of unbleached flour, and some softened sweet butter for the top of the bread. In a small bowl, you want to dissolve the yeast in the water, the warm water. In a larger bowl, you're going to mix together the cottage cheese, honey, butter, herbs, baking soda, and eggs. Then you will stir in the yeast mixture, gradually add the flour to form a stiff dough, beating it well after each addition. Then you cover and let it rise for about an hour, or at least until it's doubled in bulk. Stir the dough down with a spoon. Place in a well-greased 1½ or 2-quart casserole or 10 4-inch individual pie tins. Let rise 30 or 40 minutes or until doubled in bulk again. And then you bake it at 350 degrees for an hour for a large loaf, 20 to 30 minutes for smaller loaves. And then when done, you turn it out onto a rack, brush the tops with the soft butter, and let it cool. It makes about 1 large round loaf or 10 individual dinner rolls. So it's actually really good too. It's really, really good. We have time for one more before I take a commercial break. Herbal butter. This is also something I've tried, and it works really good on that bread too. 2 sticks of unsalted butter softened, 4 to 6 tablespoons of chopped fresh herbs, flowers, seeds, or 4 to 6 tablespoons of dried herbs. You can go either way. Juice and grated zest of 1 lemon. So you want all of the juice and the grated zest of 1 lemon. And some salt and pepper to taste. That's up to you how much you want to make. You want to cream that butter until it's light and fluffy. Chop the herbs and flowers very fine or pulverize the seeds and blend them into the butter. Spoon it onto a sheet of wax paper and then roll it up so the butter is about a 1/2 inch in diameter. And then you refrigerate it until you're ready. And then you can just cut it into slices. Oh my God, it is so good. I can't do nuts, but I can do flowers and seeds and stuff and herbs. So yeah, it's really, really good. But we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, I am going to give you a few more recipes here that I have. So stay tuned. We will be right back with some more recipes. Hold on. Looking for that special item for your mantle or that one-of-a-kind gift for the love of your life? Visit us at Sleeping Griffin. We offer many items from pyrography to metaphysical supplies. Choose one of our regular designs on a keepsake box, crystal grid, or even design your own. Need a little help with your practice? Choose from our selection of organic, hand-mixed binding salts. Come and see our Etsy shop at Sleeping Griffin or visit our website at sleepinggriffin.net, where spirituality and functionality come together.
The Raven's Rune is a spiritual resource center where you will find magical things for magical people. Handcrafted candles, incense, essential oil blends, and amazing hand-tooled custom leather goods. Check out their Wheel of the Year candle and incense packs. Each Sabbat has its own special blend, made during the correct moon phases by a practicing British traditional witch, to give your magic a boost. Using her knowledge and expertise, these products don't just smell good, they work. And you'll love the hand-tooled leather goods, Book of Shadows, journals, bracers, candle mats, and many other ritual tools. You'll revel in the magical feel of old world craftsmanship. They also offer unique psychic readings. Liz is a talented sensitive. Her insightful readings are unique and come from many years of experience of working in the psychic and paranormal fields. Her compassion and empathy with clients make her readings truly meaningful. Let a consultation with this talented clairvoyant help you through the difficulties in your life and find the path to achieving your goals. So, if you're looking for unique and genuine magical wares and tools, be sure to check them out on Facebook at The Raven's Rune, or visit the website where you can see all their wonderful offerings. The Raven's Rune, www.theravensrune.ca.
And we are back with The Essential Witch. I am your host, Raven Wings, and tonight we're talking about different ways to celebrate the upcoming Beltane Sabbath. And now I'm on to recipes, because I'm a kitchen witch by heart, so, I love food. So if I can share some recipes with you guys, I'm all for doing that. So another good one would be a chicken barley stew with herbs. Use 2 to 3 pounds of chicken breasts on the bone, 2 tablespoons of butter, a pound of leeks, which would be 3 to 4 large ones or 4 to 5 littler ones. You want to cut those thickly. You can substitute onions if you don't like leeks. 4 cloves of garlic, 6 ounces of barley, and 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Then you'll need 3 3/4 cups of water, 2 bay leaves, and a tablespoon of dried sage. This is an original Anglo-Saxon recipe. The original calls for rabbit, but chicken is just as good. So if you really want to make it the other way, you can instead of using chicken, you can use 2 to 3 pounds of rabbit. In a large Dutch oven, you melt the butter and then fry the leeks and the garlic in that butter. But you want to fry them until they're translucent. Add in the chicken and brown it, or rabbit if you're eating rabbit. Add the remaining ingredients, reserving the sage. You don't want to put the sage in there. Bring this to a boil, then reduce it down and simmer it for 1 to an hour and a half. You're going to remove the chicken from the pot and let it cool. Remove the meat from the bones, add it back into the pot, add the sage, stir it well. This will serve 8 people. So, really good, nice, comfort food type of thing. If you like making jelly, there is a dandelion flower jelly you could make. You need a quart of dandelion blossoms. This is without the stems. A quart of water. A package of pectin, which you can actually get. It's just a gelling ingredient. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice and 5.5 cups of sugar. In the early morning, you want to pick the blossoms, remove and discard the stems, wash the flowers well, and then boil them in the water for 3 minutes. Drain off 3 cups of the liquid and then discard the blossoms. You'll add the pectin to the liquid with the lemon juice and the sugar. Boil that for 3 minutes and then skim off the foam that's on the top. You'll put it in jars and seal it, just like regular canning jars type of thing. The taste, it resembles honey. It's just like having honey. Dandelion flower jelly tastes just like honey. If you like dandelions, you can make a dandelion salad. You need 1 dishpan full of young dandelion leaves. If you're not into dandelion, you can actually use spinach. This can be substituted. 4 strips of bacon, a half a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, and 1 egg beaten. You'll need 1 teaspoon salt, 1/2 cup vinegar, 1.5 cups of water, and then 3 eggs, hard-boiled and diced. Wash and drain and cut up your dandelion or spinach leaves. Brown your bacon and remove it from the drippings, let it drain out, and then crumble it. Then you'll combine your sugar and flour, add the eggs, the salt, the vinegar, and the water, and mix it until it's smooth. You pour it onto the bacon drippings and heat that up, stirring it constantly until the mixture thickens. You pour the warm dressing over the dandelions, add the crumbled bacon and hard-boiled eggs, toss lightly, and serve immediately. It has bacon drippings, and eggs. I mean, How can that not make dandelions taste good? You know? Mm. You can also make incenses and oils for Beltane. It doesn't have to be food. If you're not one who wants to be in the kitchen all the time, it doesn't have to be food. You can make Beltane incense. I have a few different blends here you can try. 3 parts frankincense, 2 parts sandalwood, 1 part benzoin, 1 part cinnamon, and a few drops of patchouli, essential oil. There you go. There's a Beltane incense right there. Another one would be 3 parts frankincense, 2 parts sandalwood, 1 part woodruff, 1 part rose petal, a few drops of jasmine oil, and a few drops of rose oil. Another great Beltane incense. Incense number 3, I'm going to give you like 7, I think. I think there's like 7 here. 3 parts frankincense, 2 parts sandalwood, 1 part cinnamon, 1 part rose, a half a part of dried orange peel, and a half a part of dried strawberry. And Reverend Terry made a new Beltane oil, sent it out to test it, and worked a little too well. LOL, had to tone it down. So see, you don't want to make it too good now. Number 4 for a Beltane incense would be 4 parts frankincense, a half a part of sorrel. If I could speak, it would be so much easier. 1 part hawthorn flowers, a half a part of primrose flowers, a half a part of apple blossoms, and 1 part oak bark. Easy and simple. Number 5 would be 3 parts frankincense, 2 parts sandalwood, 1 part rose petals, 1 part vanilla, or a few drops of vanilla extract or essential oil, a few drops of jasmine oil, and a few drops of neroli oil. Number 6, 2 parts frankincense, 2 parts myrrh, 1 part benzoin gum, 1 part red copal, 1 part lavender, 1 part night blooming jasmine flowers, and 1 part rose petals. There's 6 different incenses that you can make for Beltane. If you're going to make an oil, like Reverend Terry's talking about, I have 2 different oils for Beltane. One is 5 drops rose oil, 2 drops dragon's blood, 3 drops coriander oil, and use almond oil as a base for that oil. Number 2 would be 5 drops rose, 1 drop lavender, 1 drop musk, and 4 drops jasmine. That one's one of my favorites, but I tend to love lavender and jasmine and musk, so that one just happens to be my absolute favorite. If you are making a potpourri, you can use 45 drops of frankincense oil, 1 cup of oat musk, 1 cup of dried bluebells, 1 cup of dried lilac, 1 cup of dried marigold, 1 cup of dried meadowsweet, 1 cup dried rosebuds and petals, and 1 cup dried yellow cowslips. You want to mix the frankincense oil with the oak moss, and then add the remaining ingredients and stir the potpourri well, and then store it in a tightly covered ceramic or glass container. Yeah, that one is also a really good smelling one. If you want to make a Beltane soap, a soap specifically for Beltane, 1 cup grated unscented soap, 1/4 cup hot water, 1 tablespoon apricot oil, 1 tablespoon lemon balm or lemon thyme, either or, a half a teaspoon of rose flowers, 6 drops of frankincense oil, 6 drops of sandalwood oil. Yes, it is a lot of frankincense oil. 3 drops of cinnamon oil. Place the grated soap in a heat-proof, non-metallic container. Add the hot water and the apricot oil and leave it until it's cool enough to handle. And then mix together with your hands. So you want to make sure that water is cool enough to handle. If the soap is floating on the water, add more soap. Leave it to sit for another 10 minutes, mixing it occasionally until the soap gets soft and mushy. Once the soap, water, and oil are blended completely, then you add in your dry ingredients. Once that mixture is cool, then you can add in your essential oils, because essential oils will evaporate very quickly in heat. Blend this thoroughly and then divide the soap mixture up into 4 to 6 pieces. Squeeze the soaps, removing as much of the excess water as possible into the shapes you desire, and then tie in a cheesecloth. You can hang it at a warm, dry place until the soap is completely hard and dry. So as you can see, there are many different ways to celebrate Beltane. You can be doing all sorts of things. It does not have to be this grandioso ritual where you're all dressed up and you have the altar all set and everything else. There are plenty of different ways that you can actually spend time celebrating this holiday. However, and whatever you decide to do for your celebration is all up to you. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to honor your deities or celebrate your Sabbats. I stress this completely. Do what's right for you and for your gods and goddesses. They'll always appreciate it. Like I said, a thank you, a mere thank you, goes a long way with humans and the gods, the goddesses, the deities, the fae, the elements, your guides. A simple acknowledgement for how they've helped you during the year, and a thank you for bringing the sun and the spring season, and whatever the case may be. If all you can do is light a candle for the Sabbats, because that's all you can do, whether it's health reasons, financial reasons, just whatever the case may be, don't sell yourself short. It's your intent, and I've said this from day one. You are your best tools, and your intent is what is going to carry your thoughts and your magic with it. So you do what you can. I always do suggest, if you can get out into nature at this time of the year for this Sabbath, absolutely. If you can get out into nature and near water and trees and stuff like that, where you can in tune with them and walk barefoot and do that sort of thing, I always suggest that, because that's good for your soul, no matter what the season, no matter what the Sabbath. Okay, being out in nature and the quiet and away from all of the hustle and bustle of life itself can do your whole world a lot of good. Unplugging from your internet, not that I'm saying leave my show right now. That's not what I'm saying. But unplugging from your world in general, your phones, your computers, jobs, kids, spouses, significant others, stress. If you can actually get that few moments of time alone to just say, and spend a little time thanking your gods and goddesses and deities and fae while you're there, do a little meditating and stuff. We all can use that. So next week, I am going to have a co-host. I will not be doing my show alone. I will have Reverend Terry Brookins co-hosting my show with me. And we will be doing a show on hoodoo. So, this is going to be a very interesting show, because Reverend Terry, I'm sure, has been doing hoodoo a lot longer than I have. I am a noob. I totally admit to the fact that I am new to the world of hoodoo. So I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot of things. And Terry says it's going to be fun. Yes, it is. It's going to be a good time. I'm sure I'm going to learn just as much as everybody else is going to learn out there. So we are going to have a really, really good time with that. So, but that is my show for this evening. I'm not sure if we have, I think it's next week. We will start having shows after this show. So we have a new show coming on Thursdays next week. So you'll have to check the wonderful site here and see what's coming up next week. But yeah, and I will be here Sunday. I have Cypress Sky coming on with me Sunday. She is a psychic who works with guides and stuff. So this is going to be an interesting conversation. Very, very intelligent woman. You'll really like her a lot. But she will be with me on Sunday on Walking the Crooked Path. So I want to thank all of you for coming and listening and hanging out in the chat room, and just, I hope you all have a wonderful Beltane holiday. And Terry, have a great birthday. Thank you all for listening. Have a good night.